Here's my audience. Okay, my name's McKenna Jagels, and this is my informative speech about stem cells. And here is my outline. Okay, so the human body holds the secrets to everything from limb regeneration to complete cloning, all within little microscopic cells called stem cells. So while stem cells may sound foreign to most people, meaning they probably don't know what they are, that doesn't mean that you don't have them. They have many abilities and purposes that can be used throughout the medical community, even though they do come with their share of controversy. Over the years, in both high school and college, I have done a lot of research and written many research papers about stem cells, arguing both why they should and why they shouldn't be used, mainly having to do with ethical reasons, because there are many medical reasons that they can be used even though that may not be known yet. So overall, stem cells can be separated into two types, those being embryonic and adult stem cells. But before I get into that, I want to define what stem cells are. So stem cells are cells that grow in the bone marrow that can basically differentiate into any kind of cell, meaning they can function as a cell in any type of tissue in the body, operating from anywhere from in the bloodstream to within the nervous system. So there are two types of stem cells, the first one being embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells are more controversial because they come from embryos or fetuses, and the extraction of stem cells from an embryo does require the death of an embryo, also known as abortion, which is seen as very controversial, especially with everything going on in the world currently. The other type of stem cell is adult stem cells, and they come from the adult body. So every adult has them from, well, any born human has them, from 1 month old to 80 years old. Everyone has stem cells that the body uses itself. So when cells die in a certain area, stem cells go to that area and regenerate tissue. Stem cells are mostly used in the bloodstream, as seen here. Stem cells come from the bone marrow, and the stem cells then differentiate into, they can be red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, but they can also go to any other part of the body. So, what can stem cells be used for? They have many uses, from disease and cancer treatments, where they would replace the damaged cells and even sterilize the body of the damaged cells, so they would remove all of them completely and replace them, functioning together as a unit or functioning as the missing piece of tissue that was removed. Research right now is also looking into cloning and regeneration within the body. So stem cells would regenerate the same way they do with other tissue, but they would be completely rebuilding parts of the body. So say they're used for veterans who lost an arm or a leg, or someone who suffered from a shark attack. Cloning is seen as a little more futuristic, something you'd see in a sci-fi movie, and personally, I don't know what that would be used for, but the stem cells do provide possibility for cloning. As well as, one of the most important options that stem cells can be used for is drug therapies. So as I mentioned before, they can be used as therapies to help with diseases and cancer, but they can also be used within drugs to help with similar things such as diseases, cancer, anything along those lines, but they can also be used to test drugs. they can be used to test how each individual's body reacts to certain types of drugs with the use of their adult stem cells. So, while there are benefits to both kinds of stem cells, there are also downsides, but we'll start with the benefits. So, the benefits to embryonic stem cells, also known as ESCs, would include that they have the ability to grow and multiply constantly in labs. So ESCs, after removed from the body, the fetus, they can continue to be grown and multiplied within a lab. Also, just wanted to add that embryonic stem cells can also be found in a small amount within the umbilical cord. So there's a small amount of embryonic stem cells that can be used after birth of a fetus, a baby. But embryonic stem cells also currently, well, not necessarily currently, but I'll get to that. But they were thought at one point to be able to differentiate into more things than adult stem cells. So they could be used in more places throughout the body than an adult stem cell could. But adult stem cells also have benefits because they come with no controversy. So there is no reason that adult stem cells shouldn't be able to be used, because there is no injury, no death, nothing that comes with the extraction of adult stem cells other than minor non-invasive surgery. So there are also newfound procedures that make adult stem cells similar to embryonic stem cells. And according to author Sue Nakamura in her article, Development of Platelet Replacement Therapy, embryonic stem cells have, like I mentioned before, more options to differentiate into different types of cells. Well, with these new therapies, adult stem cells can be changed into something called induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPSCs. And these iPSCs make them very similar to embryonic stem cells. They make them be able to be grown under lab conditions, meaning they can continue to multiply, and they also give them the ability to differentiate into more things like the embryonic stem cells can. So along with those benefits, both types come with minor downsides. Well, the embryonic stem cells being less minor than adult. So embryonic stem cells come with, obviously, abortion or the death of a fetus. Although, depending on how you look at it, if you're pro-life, that might not be a good thing. But if you're pro-choice, that is an alternate option to use of your fetus rather than just an abortion. So, adult stem cells were previously thought to have downsides, considering they couldn't do as much as the embryonic stem cells, but new research that is not been tested very much proves that they can be transformed into embryonic stem cells. Not exactly embryonic stem cells, very similar, and they have minimal rejection with the body since they are being removed from the person who created the stem cells and used in them again. So they share the same DNA, so they are proven to not have much rejection, unlike embryonic stem cells. So, in conclusion, even though stem cells have had their share of criticism and controversy, the ethical use of adult stem cells can provide new research that opens a new door for the medical community, from cancer treatments to new drug therapies. And even though stem cells may not be known, the little things growing inside of you that come from your bone marrow have endless potential, from regrowing an arm to curing all kinds of cancer.